So Christine Brown joked about your decision to join Special Forces. She said, we'll just see if his skills are as good as his ego. What do you say back to that?
Well, I take it for a word, yeah. Or my skills as big as my ego, I don't know. It was a funny thing. I didn't feel like there was ego flowing through that experience, Johnny. Not me, not you, not our peers. There wasn't ego. There was us all trying to...
Hey, besties. Grab a snack and settle in, because the Sister Wives universe is buzzing louder than it has in years. Over the last few weeks, the Brown family has practically turned their private lives into a public soap opera. Christine Brown is dropping truth bombs in her brand new book. Meri Brown is hitting the podcast circuit with revelations that could make even the most loyal Kody fans raise an eyebrow. And Kody himself? He's suddenly everywhere, posing on red carpets, fielding awkward questions, and juggling the promotion of 2 different shows at once. Remember when Kody used to let Christine and Janelle carry the publicity load while he stayed in the background? Those days are over. Now he's front and center, but the spotlight isn't nearly as flattering as he'd like it to be. Today we're diving into the tangled web of drama that stretches from red carpet sound bites to deep family rifts, because the Browns are proving that reality TV can't contain all of their reality. It all kicked off with a sly little quip that landed like a punch. When asked about Kody's decision to join Special Forces, Christine smirked and said, "We'll just see if his skills are as good as his ego." Boom. 8 simple words, and the internet collectively gasped. Was it playful? Sure. But it was also a perfectly sharpened dart aimed right at Kody's pride. Kody's response was an awkward dance of nonchalance. He chuckled and claimed there was no ego involved in his Special Forces adventure. But if you watched closely, you could almost see his jaw tighten, a subtle tell that Christine's comment struck home. Why does a single sentence matter? Because it captures everything fans have speculated for years. That behind the cameras, Kody's confidence sometimes teeters into self-importance. Christine's remark wasn't just a joke, it was a spotlight on a truth she knows better than anyone. From there, the media frenzy only intensified. Christine's book release brought long-guarded secrets to light. Meri scheduled podcast interviews that revealed more than a decade of family tensions. And Kody embarked on a sudden press tour, an unusual move for a man who typically prefers to control every narrative. It's almost poetic. For years, Kody relied on Christine and Janelle to promote Sister Wives, while he remained selectively private. Now he's the one juggling red carpet obligations and carefully worded interviews, all while trying to keep questions about his fractured family at bay. Why now? Some speculate that with Special Forces premiering alongside the latest Sister Wives season, Kody wants to protect his public image, or maybe reclaim a bit of the spotlight that his ex-wives have been owning lately. The most revealing voice in this whirlwind isn't Christine's, it's Meri's. During a candid appearance on the podcast I Do, Part 2, Meri shared a side of Kody that viewers rarely see. There are things he did better in his younger years than he does now, she admitted. Parenting is a big one. He's got children who need him and want a relationship with him, and he's not putting in the effort. That single statement peeled back the glossy TLC veneer. Meri wasn't bitter or dramatic, she sounded heartbroken. Here's a man who once built a reality TV empire on the idea of being a devoted father, yet now stands accused by his own former wife of emotional absenteeism. Meri also hinted at the deepest wound of all: Kody's estrangement from Leon, formerly known as Mariah, who came out as transgender and non-binary. Meri has been unwavering in her support of Leon, embracing their identity and using their correct pronouns. But sources close to the family revealed a far colder reaction from Kody and Robin. When Leon publicly transitioned, they allegedly mocked their name and identity. Robin was even said to have called Leon evil. Whether those details are 100% accurate or not, the emotional damage is undeniable. For Meri, that cruel dismissal may have been the breaking point, the final shove that ended her relationship with Kody for good. And Leon isn't alone. Other children have experienced similar alienation. Gwendlyn has spoken openly about the shame and pushback she faced for her sexuality in marriage to BA, now Ben, who is also transitioning. Janelle's kids have their own stories of strained connections, including the devastating loss of a son without any visible reconciliation from Kody. The pattern is striking. If a child's truth doesn't fit the narrative Kody wants to present, he creates distance. Parenting is supposed to mean unconditional love. With Kody, it often seems conditional on control. Which brings us back to the red carpet. During a press event for Special Forces, a reporter dared to ask if Kody had read Christine's book. His jaw tightened. His smile froze. "Congratulations on the book," he said quickly. Then pivoted to plugging the new Sister Wives season. Classic Kody. Deflect, redirect, regain control. This is exactly why he usually avoids unscripted interviews. Because when he can't dictate the questions, the cracks start to show. Even when discussing Special Forces, Kody couldn't resist the theatrics. He described shivering in icy water, strategically faking wheezes to convince instructors he was exhausted, and painting the entire experience as a brush with death. Let's be real. Yes, the show is physically grueling, but it's also a carefully monitored production with medics on standby. Kody narrated it like a war story, just as he once described a mild COVID fever as a death-like experience. For longtime viewers, it's a familiar performance, the Kody Brown brand of melodrama. It's hard not to wonder if Kody's Special Forces stunt is an unspoken competition with his own sons, several of whom actually serve in the military. They endured real basic training, facing genuine danger without a camera crew or guaranteed medical safety. Hunter is now an Air Force officer. Others have served honorably, quietly, without complaints. Contrast that with Kody's televised ordeal, complete with fake wheezes and dramatic retellings. And the difference couldn't be clearer. Perhaps that's why he keeps some of those sons at a distance. They hold up a mirror to his shortcomings. For years, Kody Brown carefully curated his public image, the confident patriarch, the charming provider, the visionary husband who could balance multiple wives and a sprawling family. But when you peel back the glossy TLC editing, a very different picture emerges, one of control, deflection, and a relentless need to steer every conversation. That need for control shows up everywhere. Remember the Sister Wives tell-alls? Kody famously tries to dominate the narrative, cutting off questions he dislikes and spinning events to fit his preferred version of reality. But live red carpet interviews? Those are a different battlefield. Reporters can ask anything, and Kody's subtle flashes of irritation, the tight jaw, the forced smile, reveal just how uncomfortable he is when he can't control the script. And yet, the more he tries to manage the story, the more the cracks widen. Because while Kody talks about protecting his family, his actions tell a more complicated truth. Let's start with the relationships that matter most, his children. Seasoned viewers know that many of Kody's adult kids have publicly expressed hurt and disappointment over his absence. Meri's podcast revelations only reinforced what fans already suspected. Kody is, at best, a part-time dad to many of his own children. Take Gwendlyn. She's spoken openly on her own YouTube channel about feeling ignored by her father and about the pain of being treated like a stranger. Then there's Gabriel, who in last season's emotional scenes described how his dad's rigid COVID rules and refusal to listen shattered their bond. Gabe's quiet tears during that confessional still haunt many fans. And of course there's the tragedy of Janelle and Kody's son Garrison, whose death left the family reeling. Even in the face of unimaginable loss, the hope for reconciliation never really happened. Kody's absence at key moments speaks louder than any reality TV soundbite. But the deepest cut may be with Leon. Meri's steadfast support of her child stands in stark contrast to Kody's silence. Sources close to the family describe how Leon's transition was met with mockery and rejection from both Kody and Robyn. If true, it's a heartbreaking example of conditional love, the very opposite of what parenthood should mean. Meri, to her credit, has embraced Leon with open arms, using the correct name and pronouns, and respecting Leon's privacy by keeping them largely off the show. Her quiet courage highlights the chasm between her values and Kody's need for control. For many fans, this isn't just a family dispute, it's a test of empathy and unconditional love. And it raises a painful question. If a father can't love a child for who they are, what does that say about the grand family values he's spent years preaching? Meanwhile, Kody continues his public relations balancing act. He's promoting TLC's Sister Wives while simultaneously hyping his appearance on Special Forces, World's Toughest Test. The timing is no accident, 2 shows, overlapping premieres, double the headlines. But it's also double the scrutiny. Reporters want to know about Christine's book, about Meri's podcast, about the estranged kids. And every time Kody tries to pivot back to the safe zone, tune in Sunday night at 9. It only highlights the questions he refuses to answer. It's almost ironic. The man who once prided himself on being the ultimate family man is now more comfortable talking about fake Special Forces wheezes than about his own children. Let's pause on Special Forces for a moment. Kody described the experience as brutal, icy water, endless push-ups, moments where he claimed he was near collapse. He even admitted to faking a wheeze so instructors might think he was at his limit and ease up. Of course, it's a reality competition show with medics on standby. Yes, it's tough. Yes, contestants are pushed outside their comfort zones. But Kody narrates it like a near-death military mission. Fans couldn't help recalling his dramatic COVID story when he described a mild fever as a death-like experience while huddling on his patio. The pattern is hard to miss. Kody has a flair for dramatics. Every challenge becomes a life-or-death saga, every inconvenience a heroic trial. It plays well on TV, but it also feels like a bid for sympathy and admiration, especially when compared to his own sons who serve in the actual military without complaint or theatrics. And maybe that's the crux of it. Kody's sons, Hunter in the Air Force, others who completed basic training, embody the discipline and quiet strength he once claimed to value. They train hard, serve with honor, and rarely seek the spotlight. In contrast, Kody's televised ordeals and exaggerated stories highlight a different set of values: attention, validation, control. Perhaps that's why he keeps his sons at a distance. As Gabriel once said on camera, he was raised to be a gentleman, yet sees his father behaving in ways that betray that ideal. For Kody, facing those mirrors might be the hardest challenge of all. Of course, behind every headline is the TLC business model. Reality TV thrives on drama, and Kody understands this better than anyone. His marriages, separations, and reconciliations have fueled ratings for over a decade. Every tearful confession, every tense family meeting, becomes another episode, another reason for viewers to tune in. Some fans wonder if Kody's sudden willingness to do press isn't just about Special Forces, but about keeping himself relevant as the Sister Wives narrative increasingly centers on his ex-wives. Christine is thriving in her new marriage and sharing her truth in a best-selling book. Janelle has carved out her own independent life. Meri, once the quiet first wife, now speaks openly about boundaries and self-respect. Where does that leave Kody? Possibly scrambling to maintain his brand as the man at the center of it all. Meanwhile, Christine Brown is shining brighter than ever. Her book isn't just a memoir, it's a reclamation of her own voice after years of feeling silenced. Readers and fans have applauded her honesty and humor. Her new marriage to David Woolley has only amplified her happiness and her credibility. Christine's playful but pointed jab about Kody's ego on Special Forces wasn't just a joke. It was a confident woman reminding the world that she knows the real Kody Brown and isn't afraid to say so. Unsurprisingly, the fanbase is engaged like never before. Reddit threads dissect every interview. YouTube recaps rack up hundreds of thousands of views. Comment sections overflow with support for Christine, Meri, and the Brown kids who speak their truths. And while some loyalists still defend Kody, the tide has clearly shifted. More and more, viewers see the women and children as the heart of the story, while Kody's attempts at damage control only add fuel to the fire. So where does this leave the self-proclaimed patriarch? Kody insists he's committed to Robyn and has no plans to date anyone else. He claims he wants to mend relationships with his kids. Yet the effort remains invisible, at least from the outside. He can conquer red carpets and reality show obstacle courses. But until he faces the fractures within his own family, the world will keep asking the same question. What good is public success if you can't show up for the people who matter most? Besties, I want to hear from you. Do you think Kody can repair these relationships? Christine Brown's memoir didn't just land on bookshelves, it detonated like a carefully aimed firework. Fans who thought they already knew the sister-wives story were stunned to discover just how deep the fractures really ran. From the very first chapter, Christine makes it clear, this is her voice, unfiltered and unedited. She writes about years of quiet compromise, moments where she bit her tongue so the family could function, where she smiled for cameras even as her heart sank. She details late-night arguments behind closed doors, describes the invisible hierarchy where Robyn's needs always seem to rise to the top. And she admits that for a long time, she doubted her own worth. It's raw, it's personal, and it's impossible to put down. Readers have flooded social media with screenshots of their favorite passages, cheering Christine for her courage and honesty. One of the most revealing sections describes how the Brown family's public image was carefully stage-managed. Christine recounts how production schedules often meant filming happy family dinners, even after explosive arguments earlier the same day. According to her, Kody would insist everyone plaster on smiles because the viewers don't need to see the messy stuff. But Christine reminds us that the messy stuff was the reality. It wasn't just minor disagreements. It was a pattern of dismissal, of Kody making unilateral decisions and expecting instant obedience. For longtime fans, these revelations confirm what many suspected while watching the show. The laughter on camera sometimes masked deep pain off camera. Of course, no tell-all would be complete without addressing the role of Robyn. Christine stops short of vilifying her, but she doesn't shy away from describing how Robyn's arrival changed the family's balance of power. She writes about budget meetings where Robyn's requests for new furniture or vacations were granted with barely a conversation, while Christine's suggestions, like investing more in the older children's college funds, were brushed aside. Christine doesn't claim Robyn wanted to be the favorite. Instead, she paints a picture of Kody simply choosing her as the preferred partner, leaving the rest of the family to scramble for attention. It's a painful dynamic that viewers witnessed in real time. And reading Christine's side of the story gives it heartbreaking context. The most gripping chapter describes the moment Christine knew the marriage was over. It wasn't one big fight. It was a quiet evening when she realized Kody hadn't sought her opinion on a major family decision again. The decision itself almost didn't matter. What mattered was that she suddenly understood he never would. That's when she decided to reclaim her own life. She writes about the fear of telling the kids, the sleepless nights before the public announcement, and the surge of freedom when she finally said the words out loud. I'm leaving. It's both heartbreaking and triumphant, a scene many readers say left them in tears. As excerpts leaked online, the fandom erupted. Reddit threads ballooned with thousands of comments in hours. TikTok creators read passages aloud with dramatic flair. Instagram was a flood of #TeamChristine hashtags and fan art celebrating her independence. For years, viewers had watched Christine quietly endure. Now they saw her as a phoenix rising from the ashes. Book sales soared, and talk show invitations poured in. Christine's easy humor and straightforward honesty made her a media favorite, while Kody was left fielding uncomfortable questions at every appearance. One revelation that really caught attention was Christine's account of the family finances. She describes how all the wives once pooled their income, with Kody controlling the master account. But over time, transparency faded. Christine says she often didn't know where the money was going. And when she asked, she got vague answers about business expenses or future investments. It's not a smoking gun of wrongdoing, but it highlights an imbalance of power, financial control reinforcing emotional control. For fans who watched the Browns struggle to buy land for their Coyote Pass project, this detail raised fresh questions about where the TLC paychecks were really flowing. Christine isn't the only one ready to tell her side. In interviews, Janelle has increasingly echoed Christine's concerns. She talks about the early days when the